Hey there, Knicks Nation! Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the latest move by our front office that's got everyone talking, the signing of Precious Achiuwa. Buckle up, because we've got a lot to unpack. First, let's get the basics out of the way. Precious has just inked a one-year, $6 million deal to stay with the Knicks. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Wasn't this guy just a throw-in for the OG Anunoby trade? Well, folks, things change fast in the NBA, and Precious has gone from afterthought to a key piece of our rotation. Let's break down why this is a win-win for both Precious and the Knicks. For Precious, 1, he's getting paid. This deal more than doubles what he would have made on a veteran minimum contract. In this late stage of free agency, that's a big win. 2, he's got a golden opportunity. With our current roster, Precious has a real shot at proving he's a solid rotation player on a contending team. 3, he's filling a crucial role. We needed a backup center, and now Precious gets to show what he can do in that spot. For the Knicks, 1, we've filled that last remaining hole in our rotation. No more worrying about who's going to spell Mitchell Robinson. 2, we're getting a player who's already familiar with our system. No learning curve needed here. 3, we've potentially created a valuable trade chip. More on that in a bit. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Precious waived his no-trade clause, which is pretty unusual for a player in his situation. Typically, a guy signing a one-year deal coming off his rookie contract would want that clause to protect his bird rights. But Precious said, "Nah, I'm good." This means the Knicks could potentially use his contract in a trade after December 15th. But before we all fire up the trade machine and start concocting wild scenarios, let's pump the brakes a bit. Here's the deal. The Knicks are already over the first salary apron. That means any trade involving Precious can't bring back more salary than it sends out. We're not talking about using this as a way to land a superstar, folks. It's more about flexibility. So, what does this mean for our roster? Well, for one, it pretty much kills any speculation about a Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns trade, at least for now. The cap math just doesn't work anymore without being able to use Precious in a sign and trade. But let's focus on what Precious brings to the table right now. This isn't the same Knicks team that acquired him mid-season. We've swapped out Isaiah Hartenstein for Mikal Bridges, which makes us way more switchable on defense. That's a situation where Precious can really thrive. Offensively, Precious has always made more sense as a 5, which is exactly where he'll be playing for us. He's got the quickness to beat traditional centers off the dribble and the strength to bully smaller players in the post. Plus, he's shown flashes of a developing three-point shot. If that comes along, watch out. Now, I know some of you might be worried about Precious's size. He's not your typical Tibbs-style big man. At 6'8", he's giving up some height to traditional centers. But let's be real, the NBA is changing. Versatility is key, and Precious brings that in spades. Plus, let's not forget how Precious stepped up when we were dealing with injuries last season. He went from an afterthought to an indispensable part of our rotation. That's the kind of player you want on your team, someone who can rise to the occasion when called upon. Now let's talk about the financial implications of this deal. By signing Precious to this contract, the Knicks still have their taxpayer mid-level exception available. That's about $5.2 million they could use to sign another player if they choose to. Here's where it gets interesting for you capology nerds out there. If the Knicks do use that MLE, they could potentially combine that player's salary with Precious in a trade. Add in a minimum contract player, and suddenly you're looking at being able to take back a player making around $13 million. Throw Deuce McBride into the mix, and that number jumps to about $18 million. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. 4-for-1 or even 3-for-1 trades are tough to pull off during the season. Teams have limited roster spots, and it's not as easy as it is in the summer to make those kinds of moves. So, what's next? My best guess is that this is pretty close to the roster we'll see on opening night. We might add one more player using that taxpayer mid-level exception, but I wouldn't expect any blockbuster moves before the season starts. That being said, If there's one thing we've learned about Leon Rose and this front office, it's that they love to surprise us. They strike when we least expect it. So while I don't think we'll see any major shakeups soon, I've learned never to say never with this team. Here's the bottom line. This Precious signing is a smart, low-risk move that gives the Knicks both immediate help and future flexibility. It addresses a need, provides depth, and keeps our options open. That's the kind of savvy management that can help build a contender. All right, Knicks fans, now it's your turn. What do you think about this move? Are you excited to see more of Precious in an expanded role? Do you think this is just a prelude to another trade down the line? Or are you happy with how the roster is shaping up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, while you're down there, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. We'll be here all season long, breaking down every move the Knicks make, every game they play, and every rumor that pops up. Remember, whether it's a big splash or a savvy depth move, we're all in this together. Through the ups and downs, the wins and losses, we bleed orange and blue. Let's go, Knicks.